Ladies and gentlemen, yes, sir, my friends, the last part of the title of the new live stream is in effect. I gotta tell you, guys can believe what you want to believe, not believe what you don't want to believe, and believe what you want to believe. But I'm going to put my hat on backwards because we are coming to you live and in person. There are certain things that you are allowed to say on the internet, and certain things that you are just not allowed to talk about. And as soon as I mentioned The Rock, whose first name is Jim the Rock, as soon as I mentioned his name for the first time, they shut my stream down. They don't want The Rock, Jim the Rock. They don't want his name on the internet at all. I didn't even get into my little dissertation about Screw You Proper for just a few minutes. I don't know where it ended. I did get a message saying that my live stream died as soon as I put that guy's name into the chat window. So we won't be talking much about Jim the Rock or Screw You Proper, but I'll put it in the description box below, which will pretty much guarantee my video going into the recycle bin, the YouTube's great round file. But what we were talking about is total control, and it's now being implemented, and there has been a plan, a long-term plan, by the people that control this world. Now, I say people, and I use that word loosely, because I don't believe they are actual physical beings like we perceive ourselves to be. Now, they might look like us, but they have a completely different agenda, so to speak, and they don't really care about us like some of us care about one another. These are entities. These are entities. These are beings on a different level of understanding and or comprehension that we don't actually understand. Now, I would say that Bill Gates is aware of what these entities and their agenda is. I would say that Mr. Trump knows what their plans are. I would say that Mr. Obama knows what their plans are. I would say that Mrs. Clinton knew what their plans were. These are on a level of consciousness completely different than our own. So, what I am noticing is that I see two people on my live stream feed, even though I'm on already for 3 minutes. And even though most people would know I'm coming back because I was cut short before I said what I wanted to say. But I got to tell you, you mentioned that guy Jim the Rock. Every time for the last, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years that I mention that guy's name, my live streams or my videos get put in. My videos got put into a round file. They don't go anywhere. And my live streams, however many times every time I mention that Jim the Rock guy, the live streams disappear. They just go offline. You put that guy's name in, boom, gone. Why? Because he's one of the people that has a pretty good sized following, and I am the most censored man on YouTube, Blue Rose. I am. There's no doubt about it. The algorithm has a special place in its chemistry for me. And boy, there are things that I have never been able to put that guy's name or links to his channel or his website on YouTube. Never have I ever been able to put his name on my screen where my live stream didn't fail. So we're going to get back into what the original, the thumbnail that you saw was the thumbnail of the Yale Skull and Bones. And this is the logos of the Yale Skull and Bones that appears on the $1 bill. Now I'm going to take out a real $1 bill. In fact, it's one of the original foldings that I made for my book, Angels on the Ark. And this actually appears on the dollar bill. So what you're looking at right now is the face of a hog-nosed bat. And inside the face of the hog-nosed bat is the nose of the hog-nosed bat, which is the immediate surrounding area of the skull. Now, if you'll notice the skull here, in real life, if you folded the bill like this and blew it up like I did for my videos, the skull has 6 lines that comprise the eyes, 6 teeth on the top row, and 6 teeth on the bottom row. So those 3 numbers add up to the number 18. Now then you have 3 contiguous lines that go from the top of one side of the skull's head to the other. That represents the number 3. And then you have 2 white lines separated by a small dark line inside those 3 contiguous lines, which represents the number 2. So those 3 items together represent the number 1832. Lo and behold, the number 1832 is the exact year that the Skull and Bones Society was announced to be a real entity. So if you take a $1 bill and you fold it exactly like this, what you're going to see is a real hog-nosed bat. Now, my camera is low quality, so I don't expect you to see what I know is there. But that hog-nosed bat has a wingspan of 2 3/8 of an inch in real life when you fold the bill like this. The interesting thing about this is the length of a real hog-nosed bat is exactly 2 3/8 of an inch. So this is not an accident. It's not by accident. It's a planned event. So the wingspan is 2 3/8, and the real length of a hog-nosed bat is 2 3/8 of an inch on average. Now, opposite the hog-nosed bat, and what does the hog-nosed bat represent? Well, it represents the Yale Skull and Bones Society. And why I'm doing this video is each year I do a video just prior to the day of March 22nd, which is 322. Because every time the date, March 22nd, appears in history, some history-making situation occurs every year. Sometimes it's very obvious, and sometimes it's behind the scenes in the form of some new law or ordinance that's placed upon not just the world, but more specifically America. So when you turn this upside down, so that represents the Yale Skull and Bones, and the Yale Skull and Bones controls the Bank of England through its membership. And rest assured, it's as powerful today as it was 50 years ago and 100 years ago. When you turn this over, you have another representation of another entity that controls a different part of the world. And that entity is the Great Horned Owl. The Great Horned Owl represents the Bohemian Grove Society. And the Bohemian Grove Society represents the American war machine and the politics or politicians of America. So what you have is you have 2 entities, one being the Bohemian Grove Society, which represents the politics of Washington, D.C., which is a sovereign nation, the sovereign nation of British Columbia. That's one sovereign nation. On the opposite side, you have the Skull and Bones, which represents the Bank of England, and the square mile of London. That's another sovereign nation. And the third sovereign nation is the Vatican of Rome. So those 3 sovereign nations have the identical are combined with one another to have a certain systems of laws, and they only answer to the laws inside their edict of the three sovereign nations. They have their own police force, their own military, their own court systems, and their own rules. They rule the world. Those three entities rule the world. Now, of course, there are entities behind the Vatican and or the church that control the church. And that's where it gets into the conspiracy nut job agenda. Because some people believe that the Vatican is somehow beneficial to mankind. And in a way, it gives mankind hope through religion, but they don't follow the roles and the laws that they project onto people. So what I mean by that is they have you hoodwinked. You have been hoodwinked. You have been bamboozled by all three societies. The first society that you've been bamboozled by is, of course, what is represented now as the American president called Mr. Donald Trump. He has bamboozled you to believe certain things that are never going to happen, never were meant to happen. He knew they weren't going to happen. He knew that they would project a feeling of certain types of feelings to get him elected to presidency. If it wasn't him, don't worry about it. It would have been somebody else. Even if I got elected president, and I am the person in this world that should have been elected president, because it wouldn't matter if I was president or your sister or your cousin or Donald Trump or perhaps his son-in-law, Jared Kushner. It wouldn't make a difference who was elected president. Hello, LaRue Segrest, my friend LaRue. LaRue, I haven't been on YouTube in weeks. I when I do go on YouTube, it's late at night after I'm done with my work, my trabajo, and I see that you are punching out live streams. And if anybody is not subscribed to LaRue Segrest and you have a fancy to believe in someone who has a channel of a religious nature, please subscribe to LaRue Segrest's channel. She's very religious. She's very, very entertaining for sure. She can speak louder and faster than myself. And I'm from New York, so I have a pretty good ability to speak in a really fast tonation and fast words. But LaRue buries me when it comes to talking fast and clear, and she speaks good English. So, and she's very much into the belief of God, which is not a bad thing. So the Vatican, digressing back, thank you for stopping by, LaRue Segrest. Thank you very much. I don't go on YouTube much anymore. I mentioned this a month ago that I was going to get off YouTube and do other things, which I have been doing, swimming. I'm planning a swimming and diving vacation in the near future. I put my gear together about 2 days ago. I took all my gear and sorted it out to go diving and snorkeling, and I'm looking forward to that vacation. I just got off YouTube. It just served no purpose. Jack, welcome to the machine. Jack, I called you. I called you after you called me. I called you 3 or 4 times. And Jack Thompson is a very, very big fan of LaRue Segrest. In fact, once before Jack said LaRue had a live stream on, while I had my live stream ending, and I asked everybody to go to LaRue's live stream, and everybody did. And it was a wonderful thing. We all saw each other over there. So I did call you, Jack. I don't know. Maybe I can call you after this live stream is over. I don't think this one's going to last so long. So digressing back to my topic matter. So I showed you on the dollar bill the hog-nosed bat, which represents the Bohemian Grove Society, the Skull and Bones Society, which represents or controls the Bank of England. And I showed you the Great Horned Owl, which represents the political system of America and or the presidency. And then, of course, the entire reverse of the dollar bill, when you open up a dollar bill, is the Ark of the Covenant. Now, although people have argued that point, no one has proven me wrong, and it's not provable. Now, some people say, well, you can't prove a negative. Well, you could if I said there are 17 points of reference on the reverse of the dollar bill when it's flat and opened up. And I said that these 17 points of reference depict 17 parts of the original Ark of the Covenant given to Moses when he was being relayed that information and written down in the book of Exodus 25 to be exact. So if I say there's 17 points of reference in my book, Angels on the Ark, and then I show you 17 points of reference on the back of the dollar bill, from a forensics point of view, that's proof. For a fingerprint to be 100% guaranteed it came from a certain person, 8 points of reference are necessary to prove it came from a particular finger from a particular person. That's what the FBI says proves it came from a person. And now, of course, they have DNA. However, in my book, Angels on the Ark, I proved that the Ark of the Covenant is represented in pictographic format on the back of the dollar bill. And the reason that the Ark of the Covenant is on the back of the dollar bill is because the symbology of the Ark of the Covenant comes from the Bible, more specifically the King James Bible, that was written by Sir Francis Bacon in 1611, or rewritten. So people that believe that the Bible was written by the hand of God and that there are no mistakes in the Bible. Some people take it as far as even the footnotes are truth. So you have these people that believe this nonsense, but it is divinely inspired, that's for sure. God, no, I don't think so. Something that can portray itself as God, probably. But God itself, I don't think God takes as much interest, even in all of humanity, as you people might want to hope that God takes an interest in humanity. I don't think God takes an interest in humanity as a whole. Now, there are situations where certain events have occurred to certain people that they understand the totality and the mindset of what is God to some small degree. That's called enlightenment. That's where Christ received his ability to talk to people, and where Buddha received his ability to talk to people and make them understand in their language, in their time. They were possessed by the Holy Spirit. They were possessed by something we interpret to be God. However, you have to understand that whatever has controlled this world, and we're going to say billions, not millions of years, has the ability to move into any person's mind and give them information on any topic on any given day. But it also allows that person's mind to expand, to hear minute fluctuations of sound, like the plucking of a guitar string or the singing of a bird. When you move into the state of cosmic consciousness or Christ consciousness, you are able to hear and see things that you never saw or heard before, even though you could be listening to your favorite song. And let's just say that your favorite song was anything that you want it to be. We're not going to put a label on it. When you hear your favorite song and you played it 1,000 times if you're a musician, or you've listened to it 10,000 times, and you're in a normal mode or normal mindset, it has significant meaning to you because it's your favorite song. But when you move into cosmic consciousness, welcome to the machine, Dennis Adam. Thank you for stopping by. When you move into cosmic consciousness, Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness, and you hear that song, you're going to hear it differently once again. And you might even understand things about that song and why it was written from the author of the song itself, although you've never talked to the author, and the author never put it in writing or in a video format or a documentary on television or whatever. You will move into the level of consciousness of the songwriter herself or himself. That's truly a state of cosmic consciousness. So, was the Bible divinely written by God, or was it divinely inspired by something that has the ability to appear to be godlike? And in fact, by our definition of God, is God. Well, there's a couple of theories that are behind that. One is there's a level of Christ consciousness called what they call love, or called love, where everything is beneficial and loving and the world is a wonderful place. And then there's the opposite of that, or the yin and the yang of that, which is the negative aspect of the universe. So either way, people can be inspired either by the creative gene of love or the negative energy of hate and or spite or hate-filled rants. So these things, and or in the same sense, on the opposite level of the spectrum, love songs. So Sir Francis Bacon, fact 1611, finished the version of the King James Bible. And fact is that the book of Exodus describes how the Ark of the Covenant was made. And fact is that the reverse of the $1 bill is an exact pictograph of the Ark of the Covenant described to Moses through the book of Exodus. So I am the person that wrote about this for the first time in the history of the world. No one in the history of mankind, and as far back as the original printing of the $1 bill, no one ever wrote about this before or put it on paper. There is no Google search that you can do that says Ark of the Covenant on the dollar bill without coming directly to my name. It's not possible. No one ever wrote about it before. No one, probably most of the people that are running the world and the show, probably they didn't even know about it. Somebody knew about it because somebody put it there. That's the pictographs of the skull and bones, the Bohemian Grove owl, and the Ark of the Covenant. Someone put those on the Bible. Something put it on the Bible. Some entity put it on the dollar bill, excuse me. And then they spoke about it through the words in the Bible. So that's what my book, Angels on the Ark, is about. Proof that something of a higher nature that we perceive to be God, or God-like, put those things on the dollar bill so that they would have a method to talk to one another when they gathered in small groups under low breath. If you just listen to what I said, then you understand what I said. And if you didn't understand what I said, well, then there's no sense in going any further in that direction. Just take my word for it that there are levels of communication that go far beyond that of words. And they include hand signs and secret handshakes and symbology. And the dollar bill is what is used by certain levels of peoples in this world. Nothing the average person would understand, nor should it be of any interest to the average person, because they're not going to start making videos about it or writing about it or talking about it, especially not now. Just not going to happen. So let me read the comments from my friends. LaRue is here for some side support. Thank you, LaRue. Thank you very much. Dennis is saying hello to Jack. Blue Rose, hello, LaRue. LaRue, dear. Blue Rose. Hello, Blue Rose from LaRue. So now I'm going to take out some of the things on what part of the world you're in. I don't know what that event will be. I don't pretend to know what that event will be. I do know it will have to do with the bug. We'll call it the bug. Okay. The bug is now a global conversation about the bug. Okay. But the bug has nothing to do with what is actually going on behind the scenes. And what's going on behind the scenes is every time I say the wrong word, Google shuts my live stream down. I don't know how to word this, so you guys are going to have to read between the lines. The bug, which has a similar name to our sun, the sun that gives us life from the universe, and the sun's corona. The bug has a similar last name. And the corona of the sun is something that permeates all the light and all the life-giving energy from the sun. However, without the corona and or without the light from the sun, life would end. So it's a good thing that it exists, but without that, it's a bad thing. But that's not what the bug's last name has to do with the sun's corona. The sun's corona emanates throughout all of our planet. Therefore, they chose a bug with the last name of the sun's corona. Because now, it's not by chance they did this. I don't know why, I know what their long-term plans are, but I don't know why they chose the bug with the last name of the sun, the circle around the sun known as the corona, and the bug have the same last name. Well, they chose it on purpose because to them, the way they use statistics and facts and secret handshakes and secret codes is that the corona of the king, the crown of England, or the king's crown, has a corona on top of the crown. Let's see if I can get to that before they shut me down. Okay, so we'll go to the king's crown. We're not going to talk about Jim Rock. Okay, we ain't going to talk about that. Okay, so we're going to go to the British crown. The emblem of the British crown is this. So basically, this is the British crown, and the gemstones goes back throughout the history of the significance of gemstones. But what's more important is this crown is crowned with what is known, it's the crown. And the word crown is a derivative of corona. So the British crown, at one time, there was a factoid that the British crown, that the sun never sets on the British crown. Okay, so that being said, the sun and the crown that still controls America, by the way, the British royalty still control America. They never relinquished power to America. You could believe what you want, but they never relinquished power to us. We never defeated the British. They left. They pulled out, whatever it was. All they did was put their players into place to take over America in their long-term plan. And that we're in that long-term plan. So you can go back through history how these people, or how these entities, or how these beings have controlled the world. And you could go back as far as you want in the papacy and see that there has been nothing but horrific things done through the Vatican and through its papacy, even as recently as Pope Ratberger. What's that guy's name? Ratberger, Ratzenegger. Anyway, that guy, he said that he was against gay marriage, and yet for his entire life, it was discovered after he quit, which he's basically still the legal pope. But after he quit, which you're not allowed to quit, it's like the Masons. And now he's supposed to be having a bisexual relationship or a gay relationship with his ex-butler. I read stories about that. I don't know if it's true. But there are a lot of stories to that effect. So, and before him, you have Pope Pius XI, who was working hand in hand with Adolf Hitler to promulgate World War II and the outcome of World War II. And if you go back into recorded history, basically the church, or in Rome, it was spared, or the larger churches were spared any kind of damage from bombing, because the Pope Pius XI cut a deal with Adolf Hitler for whatever the deal was. I read a book called Hitler's Pope, Hitler's Pope, and it described how Pope Pius XI worked in conspiratory fashion with Adolf Hitler. So digressing back, the crown of England is the corona of England. And now, and the corona of England controls the Vatican. Even though the Vatican controls the world, the crown of England controls the Vatican, or the royal family controls the Vatican. Because the royal family, I think, is the richest family on earth. Although the Vatican is supposed to have a vast amount of wealth through real estate, it all derives back to the crown of England. So let me get back to my live stream and see where we are. Okay, so Canny Ford, welcome to the machine. How are you, Canny? Wow, so Blue Rose says on 3/22/2020, there will be 2 asteroids dubbed DP4 coming extremely close to that atmosphere. Take symbolism as it may be. And probably it has some significance beyond my understanding. But what I will tell you is that always on the day of March 22nd, USA time, some sort of sleight of hand is instituted in the form of a law or an edict or a proclamation. Something is pushed through Congress that removes the rights of the American people. Jack Thompson says, I'm sneezing and coughing my way to the front of the line. Now there's a real man. I had an uncle that used to take the train into the city, and when he took the train, there would be no seats. And what he would do is he would eat an entire onion, a whole like Vidalia onion, and a couple of bulbs of garlic raw before he got on the train. And he would get up close to somebody and then he'd breathe on them. He would breathe some disgusting, and he used to smoke cigars. So, and his breath would be so bad, people would get up out of the seat. So I see Jack Thompson is taking notes from my uncle. Yeah, LaRue Segro says, yes, I sent you words of appreciation in return for your support to me. You sent me also 3 hearts on my video. I do not know what the meaning of these hearts. It means we love you, LaRue. Oh, yeah, Stephen Rogers. That's what I believe exactly. Pretty much, exactly. That's why I'm making this video. So the coronavirus, the corona bug, the bug of the corona, or the bug whose last name is corona. It's now a global event. It's now a global catastrophe, actually. And that's why they used a bug with the last name, which is the same last name of the sun's corona. That's why they used it, because it's an all-encompassing halo over our flat plane that we live on. Yes, so Stephen Rogers, that's exactly right. That's why they used that name. Now, they use names like that. They did this on purpose. This has all been planned. Could have been planned for a couple of years. It could have been planned for 25 years. I don't know. But they didn't use the bug whose last name is the same as the sun's corona. They didn't use that by chance. It was a planned event. And just like my cousin is coming on to her 21st birthday. And so she has a birthday agenda for 21 years old. And her birthday agenda of being 21 years old is to become part of the, citizen of the world order. That's what she wants to do. So the corona, the bug or bug corona and the sun's corona was plotted and planned years ago. Now, is the whole thing real? Well, I mean, yeah, it's real to some degree, but should it be as massive as it is? I don't know. I can't say that they shouldn't be doing what they're doing, but I will say they planned on doing what they're doing, that they are doing, for a long, long time. Because if you remember, like my cousin, whose birthday is on the 21st, she has an agenda. And her agenda that she's going to implement on her 21st birthday is the same implementation of an agenda that all other people on the 21st are going to implement. So she's had this planned for years, her agenda. So this is going back as far back as recorded history. So 10 years ago, when you heard about my cousin's agenda for her birthday, on her 21st birthday, that was all planned out. So this bug that has the name of the British Crown and or the corona, the bug itself, not the corona of the sun, the bug corona. This is all part of the way they do stuff. They project what they're going to do onto the people, and they say it in newspaper article after video, and it's an all-encompassing concept what's going on now with the bug, with the last name corona. It's all-encompassing. It's all over the world. It's not just like the rays that come from the sun's corona and the sun, all over the world. These two names did not happen by chance. They knew this was going to happen. So let me go back to the comments. So LaRue, your Blue Rose says you're generally right on that, Stephen. They're doing that, of course. There is a lot of symbolism involved in it, like Michael is explaining about the meaning of the corona. Oh, there's no possibility of a risk, Stephen Rogers. It's happening. Okay, that's why I put down at the end of the title to this video, freedom of speech is gone. I mean, when did my live stream stop before? I don't know when it stopped, but I do know when it stopped. It stopped immediately after I mentioned the guy whose last name is not Rock, but is like a rock, and his first name is Jim. And I mentioned the screw you proper concept, okay, because they did. So let's digress back to how they are screwing you proper. So, and Donald, where are you, Donald? Let me see if I find you. Donald, hey, come on over here for a minute. Well, let's get Mr. Trump. This is my friend Carl sent me this. Carl, if you're out there, did you get my mail? Here we go. Look, Mr. Donald Trump. Remember, Mr. Donald Trump, Mrs. Clinton, and Mr. Obama. Remember, they're not always telling you the truth.
I will be the greatest president that God ever created.
Oh, boy. He's going to be the greatest president that God ever created. So now God creates presidents. Yeah. But is it the good God or the bad God? All right, let's listen. Mr. Donald, do you have anything else to say? I do, Fazio. I do. Ready?
I will be the greatest president that God ever created.
Oh, my God. Here it comes. Here comes the big one.
Look, I'm really rich.
And here, for the finale,
I will build a great wall on our southern border, and I will have Mexico for that wall.
oh, my God, he made a mistake. He did make a mistake about building a great wall and having somebody else pay for it. He never built the wall. I told you he was never going to build a wall, and he's never going to build a wall. That was all subterfuge. Now, he got you the first time to vote. I mean, as if there was somebody else to vote for. He got you to vote for him the first time by telling you he was going to build a wall that he never built. But he also said that he was going to put Mrs. C in jail. He said that she was going to go to jail. That never happened. Mr. O, he was going to dig deep into O's background. That never happened. He was going to build a wall, a Great Wall. He said it was going to be like the Great Wall of China. That never happened. So those three things didn't happen, and the small-brained people of the world, the tiny, what we call in the Philippines, your brain is called an utag. 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 U-T-A-G. Utag. So the people with the gamay small utags, the small brains, they said, well, you know, he wasn't allowed to do this, and nobody would go against Mississippi. But he said he was going to do it. He said he was going to do it. He didn't do three major things that he said he was going to do. And he's never going to do those things. So now he's going to save the whole world. And he just said it. He said he will be the greatest president that God has ever created. They're setting you up. It's on, it must be true if it's on my channel, right? Listen to what he says.
I will be the greatest president that God ever created. Look, I'm really rich. I will build a great wall on our southern border, and I will have Mexico pay for that.
Oh, my God. Donald, talk to me, Donald. I just did. I lie. Who lies? I lie. Fazio, you don't lie about nothing. Thanks, Donald. Mr. Trump, listen to this. Do I lie, Mr. Trump? No, Fazio, you don't lie about anything. You are the truth seer of truth on YouTube. Mr. Trump, have I ever lied about the dollar bill? No, Fazio, you never lied about the pictures on the dollar bill. Show them. All right, Mr. Trump, as soon as you talk to me about that great wall, I'll show them the great pictures. Show them. Show them the pictures, Fazio. Show them the pictures. All right, Mr. Trump. Okay, I will show them the pictures on the dollar bill. So take a dollar bill out of your pocket and fold it like this, and then you're going to see the Yale Skull and Bones logos, right? Just like that. Just fold it exactly. Take any dollar bill out of your pocket. Okay, this is how they talk to each other. Flip it over, and you got, what do you have? You have the Great Horned Owl that represents the Bohemian Grove Society. Can't see that? Well, I'll show it to you. Hold on a minute. Let me get a better picture of that. Okay, so here we go. Uh-oh. 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 Here we go. Here we go. There we go. There's the great horned owl on the back of the dollar bill. Just take a dollar bill out of your pocket and fold it, and you're going to see a great horned owl. However, look at the words above it. Satan's angels, baby. Satan's angels on the dollar bill. Okay, so that's a part of my book, Angels on the Ark. Now, let's turn it upside down. And what do we got when we turn it upside down? Well, lo and behold, we have the Yale Skull and Bones. Oh boy, they shut me down. They shut me down. Does anybody still see this live stream? Put down the number 1 if you can still see it. I still see 26 people watching, but I don't see any number 1s. Okay, all right, good. Well, as soon as I showed that picture, they don't like that picture. I got to tell you, there are certain things. See what's happening. All right, thank you. I got it. There are certain things that this is all part of my cousin's 21st birthday party agenda. This is all part of it. No longer do they have to have a human being monitoring people's channels. They can pick up. Do you know that not only can they pick up the words that you say while your computer is on, but they hear every word that you say when your computer is turned off, unless it's disconnected altogether from the internet, like shut off and not connected. But now, it used to be that they could only hear the words that were spoken. So if you put a picture on the screen that said the word agenda and then the numbers 1 and 2, or 2 and 1, it would not pick up that as a concept. But now the computer picks it up as a concept. You got to work around this stuff, and I try really hard to work around it, but putting the Yale Skull and Bones up, that picture that you just saw, the pictograph that I showed you of the Yale Skull and Bones, if you go to the Yale Skull and Bones Society's website, if you go to their website and look at pictures that the Yale Skull and Bones Society has picked out to represent the Yale Skull and Bones Society, that picture I just showed you, this one, I'll show it to you again. The one with the colors.